Gods of wrestling, please bless me with the strength of 1,000 choke slams to get me through this challenge. Amen. Hey guys, Katie from the K Show vlog here, and for the month of November, it was my goal to train like Jocko. Who is Jocko, I hear you ask? Well, first of all, it makes me so happy to be able to introduce you to someone who's really worth paying attention to. Jocko Willink, or Jocko for short, is this guy. He's built like a refrigerator, he loves a dramatic pause mid-sentence, and I'm decently sure he has some sort of power to look straight into your eyes and detect any bullshit. Like if you were saying, oh sorry, I didn't have time to go to the gym this week, he would just be like, beep boop beep, bullshit. But aside from that, he's a former Navy SEAL, he's a New York Times best-selling author, he's a co-founder of Echelon Front, which is a leadership consultancy business, he's a motivational speaker, and he hosts an awesome podcast with Echo Charles, which is really great to listen to. I don't think there's much that he doesn't do, to be honest. He's known for his no excuses attitude towards discipline and his 4:30 a.m. workouts. And for the month of November, it was my goal to get up in the morning nice and early and do a 4:30 in the morning workout just like Jocko does. But why would I do this? Well, really, I just love a good challenge, especially anything to do with mental strength and discipline and overcoming the mind. I also really wanted to see if it would make a difference to my day. I wanted to see how it would make me feel at the end of a month. And also, I wanted to make a cool video as a tribute to Jocko, but if I just sat here and said how inspiring I think he is, I think it'd be really boring and lame. So I had to make it fun in some way, and this is the way I thought of. Another reason was because there's just a huge part of me that loves to defy stereotypes and show that anything is possible. And if you've been following my blog for a little while, you would already know that I have the chronic disease called endometriosis, or endo for short. And unfortunately, exercise is a huge trigger for flaring up the painful symptoms of endometriosis. And you find that, well, I found that you get your diagnosis, you start talking to doctors, you start researching, and there's a very defeatist attitude around it. It's almost like the culture of it is to throw in the towel, give up on everything, and just say, well, I can't exercise or I can't do this or that because I have this disease. And you know what? I don't agree with that defeatist attitude at all. And a huge mission on my blog has been to challenge that exact theory. I'm still going out, I'm solo traveling around the world, I'm hiking, I'm snorkeling, I'm pushing my limits, I'm living to the fullest. And it's to offer a different voice in this conversation to show that actually, yes, you can still do things and you can move towards your goals and you can live a normal life even if you have a disease. And absolutely, it's challenging. It's a little bit tougher, you might be a little bit slower, you might have to adjust some things, it can be really hard some days, but you can still do it, you can still overcome this barrier. So that was another motivation around the challenge, just to show my friends with endometriosis on here that yes, you can still do these things like normal people, like lift weights at the gym, and it is possible, but I think it transfers to anyone, no matter what your specific challenge might be. It might not be a disease, it could be something else, but you can overcome the challenge that's in front of you. If you're interested in doing something like this, Jocko has outlined his workouts in his book, Discipline Equals Freedom. For my challenge, I'm not matching him workout for workout, and it's because the exercise would be too much of a trigger for endometriosis. So I have to be a little intuitive with my training, but the challenge is definitely to wake up every single day at 4 a.m. with no excuses and do something active. So it's partly physical, but also more mental and building discipline. So with that being said, let's get after it. It sounds so much more intimidating when he says it. He's so intense and get after it. You know, I sound like if a marshmallow could talk and it had an Australian accent, you know? Get after it, mate! Nobody's intimidated by that. So, how it went. I'll be honest, the first week was pretty brutal. In a way, it was kind of easy because my motivation was so high and I was in it to win it. So waking up was kind of easy. Good morning, Jocko. There was even a day, I think it was about 2 or 3 days in, that I had to do an airport drop off at 2 in the morning, and I went to the gym straight after at 3 in the morning, just instead of waiting till 4 since I was already up. And I felt like I'm on top of the world, I'm gonna nail this, it's really easy. Jocko's doing 4:30, that's cute. I'll see you at 4:30 and raise you at 3 a.m. And then the novelty wore off.
How do I deal with setbacks, failures, delays?
The waking up and working out part was probably the easiest for me because I knew that was part of the goal and I wasn't going to have any excuses. Like, you know how sometimes you hear people talk and they're like, oh, I'm going to try and go to the gym, I'm going to try and save money or whatever their goal is. Like for me, there wasn't any trying, I was going to get it done. So that was kind of the easy part. But the rest of the day, I just felt more tired, I was less productive, I found it hard to focus on things, and overall I just felt like slow and sluggish. And it was at about the 1 week mark for me where it started to switch and I started to notice I wasn't getting as tired in the day, and it just gradually got better and better from there. So if you do try anything like this, if you can just survive that first phase where your body's adjusting and it's uncomfortable and it doesn't seem like it's worth it, it might be a week, it might be 2 weeks, whatever it is, if you can just get through that part, then your body adapts and it becomes easy. Like now it just feels like a normal routine and I feel like I have a lot more energy in the day compared to that first week. So to get through the challenge, it was really important to me to be even more disciplined and prepared and just reduce the risk of failing. And especially in that first week where it did feel really hard. So every night I would lay my clothes out and I would even lay it out in the order that I put it on in the morning so that when I woke up, I didn't need to think at all. I could get dressed in the dark and just walk out. It was very easy. I also made sure I was getting to bed nice and early to get enough sleep. I was eating right, drinking a lot of water. And I also set my alarm before I went to bed because I noticed that once I was cozy and snuggly in the bed, then when you have to press that 4 a.m. alarm button, it's a lot harder and my brain would start putting excuses in there to sort of test me. So I found it easier to just set the alarm like when I'm in the lounge room before I even get into my bed. And in his book, Discipline Equals Freedom, Jocko does say you have to curse the warm bed. Stupid son of a bitch. And this is one way I had to do that. I also set my alarm tone to the audio from the Good video, which you can get off iTunes, and I think it just terrified me awake every morning.
Good. How do I?
Another tip that Jocko shared was that once you hear your alarm in the morning, you get up straight away like a robot and don't hesitate. Because once you hesitate, you give your brain a chance to wake up and give you some excuses of why you shouldn't get out of bed. And I found that to be so true because most mornings I would hear that alarm, I would turn it off and get up and start moving. And it was actually pretty easy, but there are a few mornings where I would wake up and then think, oh, just quickly check these messages or quickly check these emails or whatever. And then I found that I was having to sort of motivate myself to get out of bed. And even if that checking of messages was only like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, it would still feel like I would have to almost convince myself to get out of bed. Whereas when you're doing just like the robotic motions, you just get up and there's no like resistance against it. So I definitely 100% agree with that. Just hear the alarm and get up and start moving, and then it's very easy actually. And I did fall into that trap a couple of times where I would be checking messages and checking emails and things like that, and I had to sort of rewire that behavior pattern and just say, hey, before this challenge, those messages and emails were waiting till 6 or 7 in the morning. So they can still wait till 6 or 7 in the morning, and this early time is just my me time, you know? Okay, time out real quick. Usually in my videos, I pause to either promote something I'm doing or ask you to subscribe or something like that. But in today's video, I really just want to encourage you to go over to Jocko's channel. I'll leave a link below and just watch the video that's titled Good, because it's such a powerful perspective to have. Especially if you're facing any challenges or trying to overcome something, it's a really powerful perspective and it's really motivating. So I'd recommend that you watch that, really soak it in, maybe watch it twice, and soak in that message, and I think you're going to be in a better position to overcome any of those challenges you're facing. So I did achieve the challenge this month, but it wasn't without its hurdles. So what happened was I had my microblading touch-up appointment for last week. And microblading is just my eyebrows, they get tattooed on, so it's a fresh tattoo on my eyebrows, right? Which doesn't seem like it would be relevant, but it does mean I have to keep my eyebrows clean and dry and I can't sweat in them for a whole week. So that means no gym, really, because the gym is so stuffy, I just can't go there and not sweat. And at first, when I decided to make this challenge, I looked over my calendar and I saw that appointment. And I thought, oh no, I couldn't do this challenge in November. I should push it out to December. And then when I thought of December, you know, obviously it's the holidays, it's gonna be a lot more challenging. I don't really want to be having to film and do stuff like this on my family holidays. So then there was January, and I just thought, hang on, this is never gonna end. Like, there's never gonna be a perfect time. So I just thought, I'm just gonna send it and go for November, which is what I've done. Now with this appointment, I just have to keep them clean and dry and not sweat, right? But it doesn't mean I have to break my whole challenge or not be able to wake up at 4 or 4:30 in the morning. So I've still woken up early every single day, and I've been going outside because it's so damn cold outside. So I've just been going for a walk. I started doing a little circuit at a park bench nearby, just some sort of one-legged lunges, some squats, some push-ups on the bench, things like that. And still sticking to the goal. I haven't failed yet, and I don't think I will. But it's just a reminder that there's never gonna be a perfect time, ever. And life is always gonna get in the way. So the best you could do is just go for it anyway. And then when things come up or challenges happen, you just work around it and do what you can. But it doesn't mean you have to give up. And it definitely doesn't mean you should never start. There was also the fact that I started with very basic outdoor walks and outdoor circuits. And for almost the entire month of November, it has been raining non-stop. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, that rain is damn cold. I'm pretty sure it was a mental test more than anything, because after a couple of weeks in the cold rain, I think I was starting to lose my mind.
And it's hard to hold a candle in the cold November rain.
And it was in the second week that I'd been going a little bit too hard, and I did trigger a big endo flare. So Jocko says when you think about quitting, wait one day so that you're not just reacting to the impulses that you kind of want to take the easy road. So then after that day, if you still think you need a break, then you take a break. So I waited 3 days with this endo flare, and then on that third day, I was like, no, I think I need a break. So I did take a rest day. I still woke up at 4. I did some light stretching, but not anything that I would class as a workout necessarily. So there were some challenges, but I noticed around week 3, I really started getting into a groove with the workouts. My body was adapting really well, and it just felt like a good routine. And if you are someone who has endometriosis and wants to do something like this, or even if you're just really out of shape and haven't been exercising in ages, I think the same sort of advice would apply, that just start light, start where you are, and gradually build over time. Like, you have to think about it long term. And I know it's a bit embarrassing, like it can be a bit bruising to the ego when you're in a gym and everyone's lifting heavy and just getting after it so much, but just focus on where you're at and just compete with yourself and just gradually build over time. So at the start of the month, I could only do 4 lifting exercises, and I did 10 minutes of cardio, and the lifting exercises were very light. I had, I think for most of them, no weight on the bar, right? And now it's at the end of the month, and I'm doing 6 lifting exercises and 20 minutes of cardio, and I've added weight to all my lifts. So like, it's baby steps. I haven't added a ton of weight, but it's gradual improvements every day. And it really is what you're doing every day that counts, not what you do once in a while. So just always be making those little improvements. Overall, I'm really glad I did the challenge, and I'd encourage anyone to just commit to it for a month with no excuses and see how you feel afterwards. I found that having the month with no excuses really showed me that there are no excuses. When you want to work towards something, you will make it happen. And going forward, I can see myself continuing to wake up at 4 in the morning because it's just become a routine now. And I feel like it sets me up for success in the day. I have a lot more time to get things done, and I get to work out in a quiet gym. So it just feels like it's a good routine for me to have. I also think that when you start your day with something like this, it just starts your day with such good momentum. Like, obviously there are health benefits to exercising, we all know that, but I think the mental benefits of discipline might be even better. You're setting those goals, you're working towards achieving them, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't want to, and even when it's hard, maybe even when there's freezing cold rain outside. But you're still doing it, and that builds trust and credibility within yourself, so that when you have to do something else that requires hard work and discipline, you already know you can do it because you've built that pattern within yourself. So I think you get that benefit as well, and there's a domino effect into the rest of your life. So it's definitely worth giving it a go, and if you do give it a go, please tag me or something, because I would love to cheer you on. If you need a cheer squad, I'm definitely your gal. Right, so we got to the end of the video, and I feel like I can do my cheesy little tribute now, okay? So, hey Jocko, I'm Katie. look, I know what you're thinking. And yes, great idea. You want to play Jocko Santa and send me a little bit of Jocko merch, like maybe some mint chocolate milk, you know? I want to get on the milk train. Maybe one of those shirts that say good. I would so proudly wear that at the gym / everywhere. Maybe some white tee, maybe just a sticker that says good. It doesn't matter. Side note, you guys should definitely check out the Jocko store in Origin, Maine because there's so many cool products there. That would be a Christmas miracle, but for reals, I didn't do this video for merch. I just wanted to make a little tribute to you and introduce you to people who follow me. And maybe they could be at least half as inspired by you as I am. And I know, like, I'm probably not your target audience. I've seen G.I. Jane. I wouldn't last 5 seconds in any sort of military. If just someone yelled at me, I'd start crying and just ring out. Be like, oh, no. But your content really is for everyone, even people like me. And through the work that you've done, you really inspire me to work harder, be more accountable, make less excuses, and just be more disciplined, be a better person in general. So I just want to say thank you for the work that you do and thank you for the content that you're putting out there. I think a lot of us are really lucky to have you doing the work that you do, so thank you. And I hope you like this video. Okay, thank you.